Criminal Law 2 is actually a study of the different kinds of crimes and its corresponding penalties. And crimes are classified into different titles. These titles are the following: we have crimes against national security and the law of nations, we have crimes against the fundamental laws of the state, we have crimes against public order, crimes against public interest, crimes relative to opium and other prohibited drugs. We have crimes against public morals, crimes committed by public officers, crimes against persons, crimes against personal liberty and security, crimes against property, crimes against chastity, crimes against civil status of persons. We also have crimes against honor and quasi offenses. So I suggest that you familiarize the different titles, no, of book 2, because if you are familiar already with the titles, you will be able to makaingon na kadretso na, oh, mao dito nga crime no, kung may kag crime against honor, katuning libel, katuning oral defamation, 'di ba? So if you are familiar with the titles, dali na lang kay nimo ma-recall kung unsa ang mga crimes na belong ana nga title. Okay? So this afternoon we will discuss crimes against national security. Okay? Um, the provision on the crimes against national security starts off with Article 114. Okay? Article 114 pertains to treason. Okay? Treason. When we talk about treason, unsa man na ang treason and unsa man ang penalty corresponding to treason. So niingon diri ang malaod no nga, wait, any Filipino citizen who levies war against the Philippines or adheres to her enemies, giving them aid or comfort within the Philippines or elsewhere, shall be punished by reclusion perpetua to death and shall pay a fine not to exceed 4 million pesos. Okay? Again, a Filipino citizen, ha? So in the first paragraph, it pertains to a Filipino citizen, and he levies war against the Philippines or adheres to her enemies, giving them aid or comfort within the Philippines or elsewhere. The penalty would be reclusion perpetua to death and a fine. And ha, meaning kaning duha, reclusion perpetua og fine not to exceed 4 million pesos. On the second paragraph, it states that no person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of two witnesses, at least to the same overt act, or on confession of the accused in open court. Okay? So the second paragraph pertains to the requirement over which you can actually prove treason. Okay? So you cannot be convicted of treason unless there is a testimony from two witnesses, okay? And it's very clear dapat it should be of the same, at least to the same overt act or confession. So if you do not have two witnesses, it could be by a confession of the accused in open court, okay? Likewise, an alien residing in the Philippines who commits acts of treason as defined in paragraph 1 of this article shall be punished by reclusion temporal to death and shall pay a fine not to exceed 4 million pesos. So, the third paragraph pertains to aliens, okay, kanang mga foreigners. Okay, so kung foreigners, ubos-ubos ilang imprisonment, temporal, reclusion temporal, but the same amount ang ilang fine. Okay, so, sorry, pila to ang penalty if it's a Filipino citizen, it's reclusion perpetua to death and 4 million. If it's an alien, it's reclusion temporal to death and a fine of 4 million pesos. And remember, na a person cannot be convicted of a crime of treason unless there are two witnesses testifying to the same overt act. Or, kung wala two witnesses, it could be upon a confession of the accused in open court. Okay? So, what are the elements of treason? So these are the elements of treason, no? That the offender is a Filipino citizen or an alien residing in the Philippines, that there is war in which the Philippines is involved. Remember, in treason, it's a requirement that we are in a war against a foreign nation. Okay? So naay gubat sa Pilipinas. Okay? And then the offender either levies war against the government or adheres to the enemies, giving them aid or comfort. Okay? Diba? Ito yung elements of treason, right? And there are two ways to prove treason. Akong gimension ganihan na either two witnesses testifying to the same overt act or on a confession of the accused in open court. All right? Now, how do we define treason? Okay, how do we define treason? Treason is actually defined as a breach of allegiance to the government committed by a person who owes allegiance to it. Okay, the nature of the crime is that, in its general sense, is a violation by a subject of his allegiance to his government or to the supreme authority of the state. Okay, when we talk about allegiance, no, as the first element of treason, it means that the offender owes allegiance to the government of the Philippines. And when we talk about allegiance, it is meant that the obligation of fidelity and obedience which the individuals owe to the government under which they live or to their sovereign in return for the protection they receive. Okay? Note also that allegiance is either permanent or temporary. While it is true that the permanent allegiance is owed by an alien to his own country, he at the same time also owes allegiance or temporary allegiance to the country where he resides. So, allegiance as an element of treason seems to be either permanent or temporary. That's why we are also prosecuting aliens, because even if they're only staying in our country temporarily, according to jurisprudence, they are still owing allegiance to us, even if it be a temporary allegiance. Okay. So note that when we talk about permanent allegiance, this consists in the obligation of fidelity and obedience which a citizen or subject owes to his government or sovereign. So kitang mga Pilipino, our allegiance to our government is permanent. We cannot say temporary ra kay di mo ko ganahan sa gobyerno ron, di mo ko ganahan sa administrasyon ron. You cannot say that, because being the citizen or subject to our government or our sovereign, we owe permanent allegiance to the government of the Philippines. Okay? When we talk about temporary allegiance, mo ni ang obligation of fidelity and obedience which a resident alien owes to our government. Kimo tong niha. Nga bisan pa og alien na or bisan pag foreigner pa na mo arin diri temporaryo sa atong nasod, they cannot say nga you cannot prosecute me for treason if I give if I give aid and comfort to a to to the opponent of the government of the Philippines, because I only have a temporary allegiance to the government of the Philippines. You cannot say that, because you being a temporary resident, being a resident alien in our country, you owe temporary allegiance to our government. Okay? Naagyapon kay obligation of fidelity and obedience to our government, even if it be temporary. And because you owe allegiance to our government, you can be prosecuted for treason if you commit a breach of allegiance to our government. Okay? So also note that the offender in treason is either a Filipino citizen or a resident alien. Okay, if you can remember, under the first paragraph of Article 114, the offender in treason must be a Filipino citizen, and as he should not be a foreigner. But with the amendment by EO number 44, it was not, or I mean, before the amendment of EO number 44 of Article 114, it was not possible under the RPC to punish for treason resident aliens who aided the enemies. Okay? Now, as amended, the RPC, the Revised Penal Code, punishes a resident alien who commits treason. So, kaniadto, ang mga aliens, kanang mga foreigners diri sa atua, they cannot be prosecuted for treason. But because this was later on amended, no, under the Revised Penal Code, appeal na ang mga aliens sa pagpunish for the crime of treason. Okay? Also note that the second element of treason is that there's a war in which the Philippines is involved. Okay? Treason is a war crime. It is not an all-time offense. And it cannot be committed in time of peace. And while there is peace, there are no traitors. Okay? Treason may be incubated when peace reigns, and treasonable acts may actually be perpetrated during peace, but there are no traitors until war has started. Okay? So as treason is basically a war crime, it is punishable by the state as a measure of defense, and self-preservation. And the law of treason is an emergency measure and it remains dormant until the emergency arises. But as soon as war starts, it is relentlessly put into effect. This was the concurring opinion of Justice Perfecto in the case of Laurel versus Misa. Philippine Reports, Volume 77, page 865. Okay, remember that. Remember that. Importante kaayo nga naadyo'y gubat before you can be prosecuted for treason. Okay? Now, kaning commandeering of women to satisfy the lust of enemy, di na siya treason. Okay? In the case of People versus Perez, the na Supreme Court, the commandeering of women to satisfy the lust of Japanese officers or men or to enliven the entertainments held in their honor was not treason, even though the women and the entertainments helped to make life more pleasant for the enemies and boost their spirit. He was not guilty anymore than the women themselves would have been if they voluntarily and willingly had surrendered their bodies or organized the entertainments. The acts herein charged were not, by fair implication, calculated to strengthen the Japanese Empire or its army or to cripple the defense and resistance of the other side. So, whatever favorable effect the defendants' collaboration with the Japanese might have in their prosecution of the war was trivial, imperceptible, and unintentional. Okay, so mo nang giingon sa Supreme Court. If you provide women to satisfy the lust of Japanese officers, it cannot be considered as treason. Okay, it's not treason. So, what are the specific acts of aid or comfort constituting treason? So, the following The following are specific acts of aid or comfort. Okay? Una, if you serve in the People versus Fernando, according to the Supreme Court, serving as informer and active member of the Japanese military police, arresting guerrilla suspects in an attempt to suppress the underground movement is a form of treason. Okay? It's treason. If you can remember, kaniadto patanong no, the Philippines was under Japanese Empire, and if you are kaniadto, if you help the Japanese, no, para ani, if you serve the Japanese as informer, and you are an active member of the Japanese military police, you are considered or your act is considered to be constituting treason. Okay. Ikaduha, in People versus Munoz, the Supreme Court said serving in the Philippine Army as agent or spy and participating in the raid of guerrilla hideout is considered treason. Okay? Another, acting as finger woman when a barrio was zonified by the Japanese, pointing out to the Japanese several men whom she accused as guerrillas. You're also considered to have committed the crime of treason. Okay? Also, we have here the taking active part in the mass killing of civilians by the Japanese soldiers by personally tying the hands of the victim. This was in the case of People versus Canibas, and the Supreme Court said that constitutes treason. Okay? Now, is there a crime or is there a complex crime of treason with murder, physical injuries, and other crimes? In the case of People versus Prieto, the Supreme Court said that where the accused, besides being a Japanese spy, took part in the execution of some of the guerrilla suspects and in the infliction of physical injuries on the others, the Supreme Court held that murder and physical injuries were inherent in the crime of treason, characterized by the giving of aid and comfort to the enemies. Okay, so you cannot say that this is treason with murder. No, okay? According to the Supreme Court, the crime of murder and physical injuries were actually inherent in the crime of treason. So usara na siya, okay? Apil ra na siya dito sa mga elemento sa treason. Okay? It's inherent in giving aid and comfort to the enemy. So you cannot say that it's treason with murdering. Na. But according to the Supreme Court, this is of course without prejudice, not to you choosing kung unsa imong mas ganahan i-file. Gusto ba ka og multiple murder i-file instead of treason? So that's up to you. But you cannot complex the crime of treason with murder, physical injuries, and other stuff. Okay? Remember that treason by a Filipino citizen can be committed outside of the Philippines. Okay? So in Article 114, it says there no that in the Philippines or elsewhere. Okay? So treason can be committed by a Filipino who is outside of the Philippines as provided for in Article 114 that specifies that in the Philippines or elsewhere. Okay? Also note that it's different when it comes to alien, okay? Kay treason by an alien must be committed in the Philippines, okay? So an alien residing in the Philippines can be prosecuted for treason. Therefore, an alien who is not residing in the Philippines cannot commit treason, okay? So what are the aggravating circumstances in treason? These are the following. Okay, so what are the aggravating circumstances in treason? First is cruelty. Okay, in the case of People versus Adlawan, niingon na Supreme Court, cruelty by subjecting guerrilla suspects to barbarous forms of torture before putting them to death, and ignominy by stripping the wife of her clothes and then abusing her in the presence of her husband, a guerrilla suspect, are aggravating circumstances in treason. Okay? So, cruelty, ignominy, these are forms of aggravating circumstances in treason. Kanumduman siguro mo noon sa ng aggravating circumstances, what is the effect if there be an attendant aggravating circumstance in a particular crime? So, if you can recall, kung naaga ni aggravating circumstance, di ba, in your criminal law 1, it will increase the penalty into different degrees. Okay, so depende. It could be 1 degree higher or 2 degree higher, depending on the attendant aggravating circumstance. Okay, so if there's cruelty or ignominy in the crime of treason, the penalty in treason will be increased in degree. So kung reclusion temporal na, reclusion, no, not reclusion temporal, if it's reclusion perpetua, so, unsa pa may higher degree ana wala na, 'di ba? So you will be forever in prison if that's the case. If it's temporal, it could be higher degree, that's reclusion perpetua if it's committed by an alien, okay? Also note kaning rapes, wanton robbery for personal gain, and brutality with which the killing or physical injuries are carried out are regarded as ignominy and cruelty under paragraph 17 and 21 of Article 14 of the Code, if you can remember that, okay? Because aggravating circumstance is stated in your Article 14, okay? But remember that evident premeditation is not aggravating in treason, okay? Because in treason, adherence and the giving of aid and comfort to the enemy is usually a long-continued process requiring reflective and persistent determination and planning. So, di ka pwedeng moingon nga there's evident premeditation because if you can remember, evident premeditation is an aggravating circumstance. And if you cite that as an aggravating circumstance in treason, di na pwede. Kaya naman, ang treason naturally needs an evident premeditation, di ba? Kailangan ginaplanuhan, magina. So, di na mo pwedeng ibutang as an aggravating circumstance. Okay? Kani superior strength and treachery are circumstances inherent in treason. So, treachery is merged in superior strength and they are therefore not aggravating in treason. Okay? That's what the Supreme Court also said in the People versus Andawan. Okay? Kani, kanang depensa sa loss of citizenship by joining the army of the enemy. Is that correct? Can you say that I've lost my citizenship by joining the Japanese army? So you cannot prosecute me for treason, no? Ningon ng Supreme Court in the case of People versus Manayo, o sa nahitabuan ni, the accused in this case being a makapili, no, considered himself a member of the Japanese armed forces. He contended that he lost his Filipino citizenship under paragraphs 3, 4, and 6 of Section 1 of Commonwealth Act number 63, providing a Filipino may lose his citizenship by accepting commission in the military, naval, or air service of a foreign nation. But in the Supreme Court, the accused cannot divest himself of his Philippine citizenship by the simple expedient of accepting a commission in the military, the naval, or air service of such country. If the contention of the accused would be sustained, his very crime would be the shield that would protect him from punishment. Okay, so you cannot say that I've lost my citizenship because I joined the army and you can no longer prosecute me for treason. Di na pwede. Okay? Because whether mo dong yung ganiha, being a citizen of the Republic of the Philippines, you owe permanent allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines. You cannot say that I've lost it because I am now favoring the Japanese military. You cannot do that. Okay? Di man ina. So that's Article 114. Let's now proceed to Article 115, the so-called conspiracy to commit treason. Okay? So, um, okay. Nag-una mga elements, but let's read this first. When we talk about conspiracy and proposal to commit treason, Article 115 provides that the conspiracy and proposal to commit the crime of treason shall be punished by respectively by prison mayor and a fine not exceeding 2 million pesos, and prison correctional and a fine not exceeding 1 million pesos. Okay? The elements are as follows. Una, it should be in a time of war. Two or more persons come to an agreement to levy against the government or levy war against the government or adhere to the enemies and to give them aid or comfort, and then they decide to commit it. Okay? So, remember naman sa siguro mo in your criminal law 1 kung saan ang proposal and conspiracy. Okay? So, kanilang um, conspiracy nga elements. Okay? So there's a war and then two or more persons they come to an agreement to either levy war against the government or adhere to the enemies to give them the aid or comfort, and then they decide to commit it. Okay? So those are the elements. So how are the crimes of conspiracy and proposal to commit treason committed? So according to Justice Reyes, no, in his book, Conspiracy to Commit Treason is committed when, in time of war, two or more persons come to an agreement to levy war against the government and to adhere to the enemies and to give them aid or comfort and decide to commit it. When we talk about proposal to commit treason, it is committed when, in time of war, a person who has decided to levy war against the government or to adhere to the enemies and to give them aid or comfort proposes its execution to some other person or persons. Okay? So although the general rule is that conspiracy and proposal to commit a felony is not punishable, under Article 115, the mere conspiracy to commit a treason is a felony. Okay? Also remember that the mere proposal to commit treason is also a felony. Although the general rule is that, di ba, remember mo in your Article 8 na proposal and conspiracy to commit a crime, di mo na crime, di mo na punishable. But ang exception is under 115, kaning article. Ganiingon mismo ang Article 115 nga the mere proposal or the mere conspiracy to commit treason is already a felony. Okay, so both are punishable under Article 115. Okay, the reason is that in treason, the very existence of the state is endangered. Okay, so mao na nga bisan pa man og proposal pa na, bisan pa mag sa tawag na conspiracy pa na, you can already be prosecuted. Okay? So here's an example of conspiracy to levy war against the government. No, this was the case in U.S. versus Bautista. So in 1903, a junta, it's like an organized group bitaw. It's a group of armed men. Okay, so they were organized and a conspiracy entered into by a number of Filipinos in Hong Kong for the purpose of overthrowing the government by force of arms and establishing in its stead a government to be known as the República Universal Democrática Filipina, and that Juan Primo Ruiz was recognized as the titular head of this conspiracy. Okay, and what they call this, that and that Artemio Ricarte as chief of the military forces to be organized in the Philippines in furtherance of the plans of the conspirators. Si Ricarte came to Manila from Hong Kong, and then after his arrival in Manila, he held a number of meetings where he or whereat was perfected the conspiracy hatched in Hong Kong. And that the defendant Francisco Bautista took part in several of the meetings whereat the plans of the conspirators were discussed and perfected. And that one of these meetings, Bautista, in answer to the question of Ricarte, assured him that the necessary preparation had been made and that held the people in readiness. Okay? So in this case, the Supreme Court, Francisco Bautista, with another defendant, was convicted of the crime of conspiracy to commit treason, okay, or conspiracy to overthrow or put down and destroy by force the government. Okay. So also note that the two witness rule does not apply in conspiracy or proposal to commit treason. Okay, it only applies to treason. Okay, it's only in treason. So we've had treason, we have proposal and conspiracy to commit treason. Let's now proceed to misprision of treason. Okay, misprision of treason. So misprision of treason provides or is provided in Article 116, and it says that every person owing allegiance to the government of the Philippine Islands without being a foreigner, tanawa ha, without being a foreigner, and having knowledge, okay? And having knowledge, please, sir. Okay. Here, tanawa. Without being a foreigner. Lahi sa treason because in treason you can be prosecuted either you're a Filipino or a foreigner, di ba? But in misprision of treason without being a foreigner, meaning you are a Filipino, okay? And you have knowledge of any conspiracy against them, conceals or does not disclose and make known the same as soon as possible to the governor or fiscal of the province or the mayor or fiscal of the city in which he resides, as the case may be, shall be punished as an accessory to the crime of treason. Okay? You will be prosecuted as an accessory to the crime of treason. So that's misprision of treason. Remember, so these are the elements, no? Remember the elements of misprision of treason. Ang offender here must be owing allegiance to the government and not a foreigner. And that he has knowledge of any conspiracy to commit treason against the government. And that he conceals or does not disclose and make known the same as soon as possible to the governor or the fiscal of the, or the mayor of the city where he resides. Okay? So remember that the offender here must be owing allegiance to the government and that the conspiracy is one to commit treason. The phrase here, having knowledge of any conspiracy against them, has reference to conspiracy to commit treason. Okay? Um, Article 116, this article does not apply when the crime of treason is already committed by someone and the accused does not report it to the proper authorities. Okay, this is because Article 116 speaks of knowledge of any conspiracy against the government of the Philippines, not knowledge of treason actually committed by the other. Okay, muna misprision of treason. Okay, um, the offender here in Article 116 is punished as an accessory to the crime of treason. But note that Article 116 does not provide for a penalty. So, ang penalty for misprision of treason is 2 degrees lower than provided for in treason. Because if you can remember, di ba, katong naaman tayo gitawag principal, accessory, principal, accomplices, and accessories. So, talk about principal, katong yung penalty provided for by law. Kung may yung kang accessory, 1 degree lower yung penalty. Kung may accomplice, may accomplice 1 degree lower yung penalty. Kung may accessory, 2 degrees lower. So that's why, because there is no specific penalty in misprision of treason, and they are punished as an accessory to treason, the penalty would be 2 degrees lower than that provided for in treason. Okay? And then, but remember, however, that the principal in the crime of treason, that offender here is is actually a principal in the crime of treason. Okay, so misprision of treason is a separate and distinct offense from the crime of treason. So you can be prosecuted as a principal in misprision of treason. You can also be prosecuted as an accessory to the crime of treason. Okay. Okay. Let's now go to Article 117, espionage. Okay, espionage. Article 117 provides that the penalty of prison correctional shall be inflicted upon any person who, without authority, therefore, enters a worship, fort, or naval, or military establishment or reservation to obtain any information, sorry, plans, photographs, or other data of a confidential nature relative to the defense of the Philippine archipelago, or while being in possession by reason of the public office he holds of the articles, the data or information referred to in the preceding paragraph discloses their contents to a representative of a foreign nation. The penalty next higher in degree shall be imposed if the offender is a public officer or employee. Okay? So, how do we define espionage? When we talk about espionage, no, this is an offense um, of gathering, transmitting, or losing information respecting the national defense with intent or reason to believe that the information is to be used to the injury of the Republic of the Philippines or to the advantage of any foreign nation. Okay? So, espionage, when we talk about espionage, this is done by entering. This is the first type of espionage, no? Katong entering without authority, therefore, to a worship. It's in the first paragraph. So, ang elements ani are the following. That the offender enters any of the places mentioned in this paragraph and that he has no authority, therefore, and that his purpose is to obtain information, plans, photographs, or other data of confidential nature relative to the defense of the Philippines. That's the first type, diba? The second type is this, katong you are possessing that particular data or information by reason of the public office you hold. So these are the elements. So the elements are actually in the definition itself. So that the offender is a public officer, that he has in his possession the articles, the data, or information referred to in paragraph 1 of this article by reason of public office he holds, and that he discloses their contents to a representative of a foreign nation. Okay. Now, the purpose of espionage is to gather data, okay? Because the we've said earlier that it is an offense of gathering, transmitting, or losing information respecting the national defense with the intent or reason to believe that the information is to be used to the injury of the Philippines or the advantage of any foreign nation, and it is not conditioned on citizenship. And it's not necessary also, remember that it is also not necessary that the Philippines is at war with the country to which the information was revealed, okay? What is important is that the information related is connected with the defense system of the Philippines, okay? Dili kinahanglan niya there's war, okay? What is important is that the data that you've shared is actually in relation to the defense of the Republic of the Philippines, okay? Also note that wiretapping is not espionage if the purpose is not something connected with the defense of the Republic of the Philippines. All right? Also note that to be liable, the offender must have the intention to obtain information relative to the defense of the Philippines. If the accused has no such intention, even if he takes possession of the plans or photographs referred to in paragraph number 1 of Article 117, he is not liable under that provision. Okay? Even under Commonwealth Act number 616, the offender in entering any of the places mentioned in Section 1 thereof must have the purpose of obtaining information respecting the national defense. Okay? So, Um, Remember, di ba, in paragraph 1 of Article 117, the offender is any person. So it could either be a citizen or a foreigner, okay? It could either be a private individual or a public officer, okay? So when the offender is a public officer, if you can notice in the next paragraph of Article 117, ang iyang penalty is next higher in degree, okay? And article under paragraph number 2 of this particular article, the offender must be a public officer who has in his possession the article, the data, or the information by reason of the public office he holds. Okay? Timan na. Now let's go to the crimes against laws of nation. Okay, so Article 118 is the so-called inciting to war or giving motives for reprisals. Okay, so the penalty of reclusion temporal shall be imposed upon any public officer or employee, and that of prisión mayor upon any private individual who, by unlawful or unauthorized acts, provokes or gives occasion to provoke, involving or liable to involve the Philippine Islands or exposes Filipino citizens to reprisals on their persons or property. Okay? So what are the elements of um, inciting to war or giving motives to reprisals? So these are the following: that the offender performs unlawful or unauthorized acts, that such acts provoke or give occasion for a war involving or liable to involve the Philippines or expose Filipino citizens to reprisals on their persons or property. The crime is committed in time of peace. Okay, so the intent here is immaterial, and inciting to war, um, the offender is any person. Okay. Also note that reprisals is not limited to military action. It could be economic reprisals or denial of entry into their country. Example, si X burns Chinese flag. So if China bans the entry of Filipinos into China, that is already reprisal. Okay? Another example, kanang the raising without sufficient authorization of troops within the Philippines for the service of a Filipino nation against another nation. So the public destruction of the flag or seal of a foreign state, or public manifestation of hostility to the head of the ambassador of another state is also an act of reprisal, okay, or inciting to war or giving motives for reprisal, okay. Um, Okay, so that's Article 118. Let's now go to Article 117, violation of neutrality. Violation of neutrality. Okay, when we talk about violation of neutrality, Article 119 provides that the penalty of prisión correccional shall be inflicted upon anyone who, on the occasion of war in which the government is not involved, violates any regulation issued by competent authority for the purpose of enforcing neutrality. Okay, so what are the elements of violation of neutrality? So these are the following, no? That there is a war in which the Philippines is not involved. So di ta involved ha in a war. And then there is a regulation issued by a competent authority for the purpose of enforcing neutrality, and that the offender violates such regulation. Okay, una, na ay war pero dili ta party to a war. Okay? Ikaduha, there's a regulation ni issue gid ang gobyerno that we have to be neutral, okay? And that the offender violates such regulation. Okay? So note that the government must have declared the neutrality of the Philippines in a war between two other countries. Okay? It is the neutrality of the Philippines that is violated, and that Congress has the right to declare neutrality. Okay, when we talk about neutrality, it only means that a nation or power which takes no part in a contest of arms go, going on between others is referred to as neutral. Okay, so there must be a regulation. Again, dapat na regulation niya i-issue ang competent authority of the Philippines. The one that has the authority to issue that is Congress. Okay, so there. Now let's go to Article 120. Okay, 120. when we talk about correspondence with a hostile country, good. When is this committed? So this is committed by any person who in time of war, Sandy, okay? In time of war shall have correspondence with an enemy country or territory occupied by enemy troops shall be punished either by presión correccional if the correspondence has been prohibited by the government, presión mayor if such correspondence be carried on in ciphers or conventional size, and reclusión temporal if notice or information be given thereby which might be useful to the enemy. If the offender intended to aid the enemy by giving such notice or information, he shall suffer the penalty of reclusión temporal to death. Okay? Now, what are the elements of correspondence with hostile country? Okay. Una, that there is a war in which the Philippines is involved. Ang offender makes correspondence. When we talk about correspondence, kana bang you are communicating by means of letters. Isuwat ka ba? Okay? So the offender makes correspondence with an enemy country or territory occupied by enemy troops, and that the correspondence is either prohibited by the government or carried on ciphers or conventional signs, okay? Or containing notice or information which might be useful to the enemy. Okay? So, mao na ang elements. So again, when we talk about correspondence, you are communicating with the other country by means of letters, okay? Or it may refer to letters which pass between those who have friendly or business relations, okay? So even if correspondence contains innocent matters, if the correspondence has been prohibited by the government, kung prohibit ka na sa gobyerno nga, di ka makisuwat dito sa enemy country, you are, that act is actually punishable, okay? Now, if the correspondence with an enemy country or territory occupied by enemy troops has been prohibited by the government, the crime is committed even if the correspondence or letter contains innocent matters because of the possibility that the same information useful to the enemy might be revealed unwittingly. Okay? One reason. Next is Article 121, Flight to Enemy's Country. Okay? So the penalty of arresto mayor shall be inflicted upon any person who, owing allegiance to the government, attempts to flee or go to an enemy country when prohibited by competent authority. So prohibited yapon siya, no? By competent authority. Tanawan ninyo ang elements, no? That the there is war in which the Philippines is involved, that the offender must be owing allegiance to the government, so he could either be a Filipino or a resident alien, that the offender attempts to flee or go to the enemy country, and that going to the enemy country is prohibited by competent authority. Okay, so remember that the mere attempt consummates the crime, okay? And that there is or there must be a prohibition, and if there's none, even if he went to the enemy country, there's no violation. Okay, so the alien here must be a resident. So alien resident may actually be guilty in this particular article. Okay. Hmm. Next is piracy and mutiny on the high seas. Okay, so Article 122 of the Revised Penal Code provides that the penalty of reclusion perpetua shall be inflicted upon any person who on the high seas shall attack or seize a vessel, or not being a member of the complement or a passenger shall seize the whole or part of the cargo of the said vessel, its equipment or personal belongings of its complement or passenger. The same penalty shall also be inflicted in case of mutiny on high seas or in the Philippine waters. Okay? So there are two ways of consummating piracy. Una, ana, is by attacking or seizing a vessel on the high seas or in Philippine waters. Ikaduha, by seizing in the vessel while on the high seas or in Philippine waters the whole or part of its cargo, its equipment or personal belongings of its complement or passengers. Okay? So, mo niya nagkadaiyang elements. The first item is this, that the vessel is on high seas or in Philippine waters, that the offender is any person, and that the offender shall attack or seize that vessel. Muna ang first mode. Ang ikaduhang mode is that a vessel is on the high seas or in Philippine waters, and that the offender is not a member of the complement or a passenger of the vessel, and that the offender seizes the whole or part of the cargo of the said vessel, its equipment or personal belongings of its complement or passengers. Okay? So those are the elements. So when we talk about high seas, kasi pasabot na high seas, it only means that parts of the seas that are not included in the exclusive economic zone in the territorial seas, or in the internal waters of the state, or in the archipelagic waters of the archipelagic state. Okay, so how do we define piracy? It is robbery or forcible depredation on the high seas without lawful authority and done with animo furande. Okay, when we talk about animo furande, it is intent to steal. Okay, intent to steal, and in the spirit and intention of universal hostility. Okay, so here, this is an example of the case of People versus Katanta. So the accused appellant here argues that in order that piracy may be committed, kuno, it is essential that there be an attack or seizure of a vessel. Okay, he claims that he and his companion did not attack or seize the fishing boat of the Pilapil brothers by using force or intimidation, but merely boarded the boat. And it was only when they were already on board that they used force to compel the Pilapils to take them to some other place. Okay. So the appellant also insists that he and Ursal had no intention of permanently taking possession or depriving complainants of their boats. And as a matter of fact, when they saw another pump boat, they ordered the complainants to approach that boat so they could leave the complainants behind in their boat. Accordingly, the appellant claims he simply committed grave coercion and not piracy. So ngayon sa kanyang pag-decide sa Supreme Court, the Supreme Court said that the court does not agree with the contention of the accused. Under the definition of piracy, as well as grave coercion, this case falls squarely within the purview of piracy. So while it may be true that the complainants were compelled to go elsewhere other than their place of destination, such compulsion was not or was obviously part of the act of seizing their boat. Okay, so note also that the last paragraph of Article 122 provides that the same penalty provided for in piracy shall be inflicted in the case of mutiny on high seas or Philippine waters. Kung mayroon kang mutiny, it is usually committed by the other members of the complement and may be committed by the passengers of the vessel. Okay, so mutiny is actually defined as the unlawful resistance to a superior officer or the raising of commotions and disturbances on board a ship against the authority of its commander. Okay? So what are the distinctions between piracy and mutiny? Kung may kag piracy, ang person nga ni-attack dire kay stranger to the said vessel. Okay? Stranger sila. Di sila pasahero, di sila member sa crew. Okay? Ang mutiny, they are members of the crew or passengers. Okay? Mo na kalahian, primero. Ikaduha, the intent to gain is essential in the crime of piracy. In mutiny, the offenders may only intend to ignore the ship's officer or they may be prompted by a desire to commit plunder. Okay? So those are the distinctions between mutiny and piracy. Okay? Kanang piracy, makwalify sa na. Okay? The crime of qualified piracy is as follows. Okay, so may penalty. The penalty is reclusion perpetua to death, and it shall be imposed upon those who commit any of the crimes referred to in the preceding article under any of the following circumstances. Una, if or whenever they have seized a vessel by boarding or firing upon the same, whenever the pirates have abandoned their victims without means of saving lives, or whenever the crime is accompanied by murder, homicide, physical injuries, or rape. Okay, so these acts would qualify piracy. So, ibis piracy ra, it would become qualified piracy. Okay, so All right. So I think that would end our discussion for this afternoon.